Here we are. We're going to talk about the one-year report card of the NWA. Have you seen the NWA being talked about more over the last year?
I hadn't. I was talking to somebody the other day about this, and we were BSing at the Icons convention. I hadn't heard anybody talking about TNA, Ring of Honor, even NXT. It's like as we talked ad nauseum about the numbers dropping the business, right? And I think that's probably a big part of what's at play here. It used to be, as you guys remember when you were younger, every week the water cooler talk was, hey, did you see what happened on Raw or Nitro or SmackDown or Thunder or ECW or something that you were talking wrestling. When I would walk through the Pittsburgh airport, I'd have people yelling across, the TSA at me, hey, kick Chaz's ass, or Chaz is going to kick your ass, or whatever. But there was always some kind of comment. I haven't had a wrestling comment at the Pittsburgh airport in years. And I haven't heard fans. There wasn't one fan that came up at the Icons convention and said, hey, did you catch Ring of Honor? Did you catch NWA? Did you catch TNA? Did you catch NXT? Not even have you seen WWE. There was the only discussion about wrestling was about what had transpired in that building with ECW 20 years prior. I didn't get any other talk about anything other than that. The only other topic that came up in wrestling, in the wrestling realm, was when people would allude to the line that David Arquette had. And David and I had a real brief, exchange. I hadn't spoken to him in, since he was there in WCW. He stopped by the table as he was walking out, and we, had a several-minute conversation. It was great to catch up with him. But that was really the only thing that any fans outside of ECW, that any fan at that Icons convention had asked me about. And I think that just speaks of the precipitous drop we've seen in the numbers of people watching wrestling. When you talk about 20 years ago, I'm guessing the population was probably 15, 20 million less than it is now. So somewhere around 300 million people, give or take. And 52 million, 1/6 of them were watching some form of professional wrestling every single week in this country, excluding the replays. Over 15% of the population. Now you look and you see that we're somewhere in the neighborhood of about, what's 2 million out of 300 million? 1/2 of 1%. That's a pretty big drop. It's a pretty precipitous drop in the numbers. And I ain't no mathematician, obviously, but it's like I always tell people, if I'm selling whatchamacallits, I'd rather sell whatchamacallits to 52 million people than I would 2 million people. But I think now you're getting to the point where the numbers are so scant in relation to the overall population that where 1 in 6 was watching before. Now it's 1/2 out of 100 watching. Pretty likely you could walk through a day or a week or a month or a year and not run across somebody to talk about wrestling. Pretty unlikely that you can do that, especially in this business when you're relating to thousands of fans per week, that you're not going to run into somebody that's going to bring up wrestling. So that's what I think we're seeing at work here. But no, I haven't had anybody bring the NWA up to me, invoke it in a discussion, not on Twitter, not on social medias, Facebook, not in person, which I think is not a good reflection on where our industry sits, especially for those non-WWE companies.
All right, Shane, we have to do this because, you were the dean. You were Dean Douglas, one of the greatest gimmicks in the history of the business. So we have to get the Dean cap on, and you have to grade the NWA over the last year. What do you have to do? The classic classroom style of Dean Douglas. Give us a little snippet. Give us a grade for the NWA over the last year.
Definition: failure. I give the NWA over its lack of performance over the last year the grade of MF. And now you got to tell me what you think MF stands for. This is the franchise talking now.
Now, is this motherfucker, or is this one of the Vince's horrible? One of Vince's horrible.
Can I take a guess? Let me take a guess.
Yeah, you take a swing.
Massive failure.
Close. Miserable failure.
Ah.
I did that. I did that to Vince the very last time I performed as the Dean, giving a grade. Blackjack Lonzo was my agent, and we were in Erie, PA, and Vince kept, throwing down, over the IFB, what grades are you going to give? What grades are you going to give? What grades are you going to give? And Blackjack keeps giving me the look, and we're getting ready to go live in 30 seconds and 20 seconds. And I keep telling him, I don't know. You're like, so I got it. I keep telling him, hold on. So Vince is panicking, right? So we go live to tape, no way to correct, and I get to the point of giving the grade, and I say, I give him a grade of, and the long pregnant pause, MF. And the franchise laughed. And you hear Vince going, what's he going to say? Get ready to cut his mic. And I wanted the motherfuck so bad. It was like right there. And I thought, well, it should probably just take my ball and go home, right? And I gave it the old miserable failure. And you can almost hear Vince's sigh of relief over the IFB. But yeah, I would say that I will re-invoke the MF, miserable failure, thus far, for the NWA.